Hello everybody and welcome to the free online woodworking school, where in this series we're going to be making a traditional arts and crafts style cabinet. It is brilliant to have you here. Thank you for coming along. Now this video is going to serve as a quick intro to you guys to talk you through what you're going to learn from this series and how to get the most from everything that I'm providing to you. Now, some important information before we get stuck into anything in this video. What I'd like to highlight is the fact this is the second project on the free online woodworking school, and I would strongly recommend you go back and watch the first project before even getting stuck in with this. The reason for this is because many of the techniques in this series will be building on stuff that we learned in the previous one. So at least make sure you go back and watch it. Don't worry if you don't want to make it, just get your head around some of the techniques we cover in it and it will really help you with what we have going on here. As for this project, we're going to be focusing on things like cabinetry construction. We're going to be focusing on frame and panel door construction and fitting. We're going to be focusing on traditional drawer construction and fitting, and start introducing some moving components into the projects. Because once you've got your head around some of these processes, a lot of things in woodworking just kind of fall into place. You've probably heard the saying in woodworking that everything is a variation of a box, and a cabinet is a great entry point into that world. Now this course is structured in a way to make learning outcomes and navigation as clear and concise and easy to follow as possible. So if you're watching this video, it's highly likely you're doing so on YouTube, which is great. But what you'll find is when you watch this series on YouTube, there'll be things that just get lost in the videos to the right of this video and like in the recommended videos and in the playlists, and it just gets all over the place and it's hard for me to point you in the right direction. So I would strongly recommend you watch this series on my website instead. You can do that by visiting mattesley.com and then clicking on school at the top of the page. That'll take you to the free online woodworking school. Scroll down from there, click on the cabinet project, and then what you'll see is each individual step of the build broken down into minute processes. So if you need to refresh your memory on a certain part of the build, it will be there waiting for you. In addition to that, within each of those sections, you'll also find supporting resources available to you, which will go into further depth on a specific topic within that lesson. So let's say within this cabinet, we're making dovetails, and there's a certain part of this process that just doesn't make sense to you, or I don't explain it very clearly on camera, something like that. Within this supporting resources section, you'll find a dedicated video on how to cut a dovetail joint, and then you'll also probably find other videos like how to saw correctly, how to chisel correctly, and even how to sharpen a chisel if you're really starting this from scratch. And watching those supporting resources will really make a difference when it comes to actually making this project. Now, if you want to follow exactly what I'm doing on the bench throughout this project, there are also optional plans available from my website. These come at a small cost, but include things like working drawings that you can follow along as the project progresses. It also includes a cutting list, so you can send it off to your local sawmill, timber merchant, or even machine up the timber yourself if you have machines at your disposal. It also includes construction notes, and it also includes a 3D SketchUp model if you want to deconstruct the project and have a look at all the internal gubbins before actually constructing it, and just help clarify some of the things that may not make sense in the working drawings. So those will come at a small cost. If you are a patron of $5 or above, these will be accessible to you for free. Move across to Patreon now and you'll be able to see where you can get that code. Now, what you'll also find on my website is a tool list that will break down every single tool that you need in order to complete this project. And not only that, it will give you 3 different options within each of those tools that you can pick and choose from to suit your own budget or suit your own workflow or whatever. These are ordered in my first choice, second choice, and third choice, and that does not, despite me being a tool snob, it does not always mean that's the most expensive and this is the cheapest. Quite often I've put sort of a moderately priced or even the cheapest one as my first option because I believe that is the most accessible and the best one for beginner and intermediate woodworkers. So have a look at that. What I'd like to say is this tool list is one of the reasons I'm able to provide these videos for free, because many of the links on that page are affiliate links, which means if you click on the link and then buy the tool afterwards, I will get a small commission at no extra cost to you. So there is a link to that in the description. There is also a link to an affiliate disclaimer down there as well, if you don't think that sounds too legit or trustworthy. Trust me, a lot of people don't, which is why I wrote that affiliate disclaimer. It breaks down everything you need to know and hopefully helps demonstrate that those recommendations are trustworthy. And finally, One of the problems with online courses is that they lack one-to-one guidance, which means it's quite easy for me, the tutor, to continue at my normal pace throughout the build, oblivious to all of the problems and atrocities that you're having back at home. And because it's online, because it's pre-filmed, I am unable to help. So what we're going to be doing is film a student series for this project as well, where my cameraman Rob is going to be building the project alongside me, following the exact same videos that you guys will be following. The only difference is he will have access to me to give him guidance throughout the build. This means that if he has a problem on a certain stage, then I will be there to answer that question, and because we're filming it, you'll be able to benefit from that experience as well, because quite often in these projects people trip up at exactly the same stages. That proved to be true in the dovetail box project that we did previously, and a lot of people benefited from that student series, so we're going to continue it again in this series. So if you want to see a beginner make all the mistakes before you do, then make sure you tune into that as well. So that's it for this video. If you're watching this on my website, if you scroll down, there'll be a little bit of extra information summarizing the points that I've made in this video, as well as extra information on the material that I will be using for this project, which is American white ash. If you're watching this on YouTube, clicking on the button below will take you to the first part of the project, where we're going to be cutting, orienting and edge jointing this timber sitting in front of me. I will see you in the first video.